Alright, it's time to stop fooling around and get back to some winter projects here. We got the Bessemer today. Made some headway on that. Been working on it on and off. And just today managed to get the crankshaft out of it. That was no simple task. It was seized in there. It wouldn't turn, and really gave me a time getting it out. I was able to get the crankshaft to rotate about a quarter turn while it was still in the block there, but that wasn't going very well. So what I decided to do was unbolt this bearing flange, which you can see is the magneto side bearing, which bolts right there, and try to slide the crankshaft out. Slide it out this way through this bearing, which is this bearing surface here on the crankshaft. And that wasn't very easy either. It was really stuck in there. The crank is not as bad as I thought it was going to be as far as pitting. It's just some discoloration there from rust. Let me see, rotate it a little bit. It's really not that bad. A little bit more discoloration here, and some metal transfer from the Babbitt sleeve bearing, but nothing that won't clean up. The connecting rod bearing is in decent shape also. This is pretty much just some surface rust and discoloration here. Really nothing is actually down into the steel, so that's nice. The next task is to pull this bearing off of the crankshaft. That's going to be an interesting task. I've already acknowledged the fact that I'm going to have to replace both the main bearings, either pour new Babbitt or make a brass or bronze sleeve bearing. I'm not really sure what the advantages or disadvantages would be with going with a bronze sleeve bearing over the Babbitt. It'd probably be easier to do, since we've already got a lathe, so we can acquire a piece of brass or bronze and turn that out in a day, versus getting all the equipment and materials required to actually pour Babbitt bearings, which is something I've never done, something I'd like to do, and I'll probably end up having to do it eventually, but I don't know if I want to do it for this engine. Let's see if I can give you a shot down there at this is the Pt1 side bearing. It's pretty rough. Has a nice gouge right there. Probably happened as I was pulling the crank out, which it probably happened when I was pulling the crank out, but I'm not sure because there's no burr on the crank that would have done that. You can see there's a casting flaw. Let me see. You can see it right there. That's just a flaw when they poured the Babbitt. That's not a big deal, but it's pretty rough. And I imagine that the mag side bearing is going to be just as bad. You can see it's actually starting to like mushroom out right here. I'm not sure what caused that, but it's shot. Hopefully the crank's alright on this side too, just like this one. Let's see. I'll have to make a new oil slinger plate. It's kind of rusted out there. But yeah, moving along. Alrighty, here's the flywheels for the Bessemer. Had to use a hydraulic puller to get these things off. They were on there. But they did come off, and I gave them a really good thorough inspection. Could not find any cracks on any of the spokes or along the outer diameter. One interesting thing is the mag side flywheel, this one here, appears to just be held on with the key. It's not a taper key, it's not a gib key, but there's no set screw, there's no locking device as such on it. Just it must have been a custom fabricated key just to fit this flywheel. The PTO side flywheel, on the other hand, had a standard key also, but it did have 2 set screws, which I don't know if that's original or not. I'll probably never know. But we'll just install it with the set screws back on there. Getting the keys out was getting the keys out of the shaft was pretty difficult. I ended up actually damaging one of the keys a little bit. I might be able to reuse it, but we'll see. I think I already showed you the new cylinder sleeve that I had installed in here. Looks pretty good. Got my piston and piston rings on the way. I had those made. So yeah, next update, hopefully we'll have some progress, either the crankshaft being all the way out and getting some bearings made, or maybe fitting the piston into the cylinder, or welding up that hole in the piston. Lots to do on this engine. Lots to do.